Shalum, Shalum, and welcome. Welcome to Endtime Reflections. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening nation. Yashar'al, if you are one of those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Creator, the Almighty One, the Almighty Father, Yahuah, you will discover that it is He who draws you to Yahusha, for no man can come to Him except through Yahusha. If you can relate to these words in agreement, these words are to you. This message is to you. And I consider you my brother, my sister, my family. In this 44th installment of Endtime Reflections, I present to you the case why maps and blueprints are important. End times are here. We are witnessing the final days of man unfold before our very eyes. In the midst of growing uncertainties due to COVID-19, civil unrest, economic instability, and other extreme, volatile conditions and situations, we are witnessing people seeking answers. Whether set apart or not, the desire to know how to live in these growing extreme humbling conditions are strong, knowing what to do, where to go, who to be with. But before I continue, let me say this. The views expressed in these podcasts do not necessarily reflect the owners, managers, and/or shareholders of this media platform. With that said, let us now dive into the case regarding maps and blueprints. Consider these definitions. Maps. The plan in detail, often used without a representation, usually on a flat surface of the whole or part of an area. A map that's designed to help people navigate, whether it be through the execution of a plan or whether it be through movement across the lands. Blueprints, a design plan or other technical drawing, often used for homes and cars and many other building things, structuring things, blueprints. My brothers and sisters, why is this important? Though everyone can't read a map and blueprints, there will be those among us who can. We must be mindful there are different skills and challenges that will be put to the test as we seek to identify answers regarding what must be done during these end times, especially as things get intense. Our literacy skills, which is basically our ability to read and comprehend or read and understand, are different based on one's perceived definitions of words and how we are educated, if at all. Our perceptions of one another differ. Our actions are interpreted different from one to another. With these in mind, we will grow to recognize the need to yield when answers are more correct and set apart than others. In other words, my brothers and sisters, it would be wise to recognize those who are able to discern with precision the accuracy of maps and blueprints and yield to the guidance of the Almighty Father will prove to be valuable, needed, necessary. We will learn to listen and identify those being used by the Almighty Father as forced movement begin. Who is aware of these words in which I have spoken on more than one occasion? Isaiah 11:12. Isaiah 11:12. And he shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yashar'al and assemble the dispersed of Yahudah from the four corners of the earth. Now in this movement, my brothers and sisters, I ask you, do you think it's a straight line to where we're headed? As he gathers from the four corners of the earth, do you think it is a straight line? It is a journey that requires movement. It is a journey that requires being able to read, discern a map. Read and discern and understand the blueprints of the structures in which we would stop and rest, or the structures we would be in, whether they be temporary tent or cutting branches down and building what's called a lean-to to lay and rest our head as we journey. The trip was never promised to be smooth and easy. My brothers and sisters, make no mistake, there will be a final exodus. The emergence of the 144,000 and great multitude will require coming together. Thus, movement is promised. Do you know how to tell north from south or east from west? Can you identify directions without technology? Are you able to confidently discern the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name, pointing you in the right direction, or working through someone that points you or us in the right directions? We will journey until we are gathered from the four corners of the earth. Are you aware of the following warnings? Matthew 24:4-5. Yahusha answered and said to him, take heed that no one leads you astray. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. My brothers and sisters, maps and blueprints, we must know how to navigate through these trying times. We must know where we're headed. Blueprints, structure. It's not always a building. Sometimes it's the blueprint of the structuring of a set-apart nation. Who is aware of the warning in Jeremiah 23:1-4? Woe to the shepherds destroying and scattering the sheep of my pastor, declares Yahuah. Therefore, thus saith the Almighty One of Yashar'al against the shepherds who feed my people. You have scattered my flock, driven them away, and have not tended to them. See, I am punishing you for the evil of your deeds, declares Yahuah. Therefore, I shall gather the remnant of my flock out of all the lands where I have driven them, and shall bring them back to their fold, and they shall bear an increase. And I shall raise up shepherds over them, and they shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be discouraged, nor shall they be lacking, declares Yahuah. My brother, my sister, oh, listen to these words. In the midst of all that is unraveling, there are warnings and instructions, which will prove to come with maps and blueprints regarding how we should move about during these end times. Even being able to identify what structures would be good shelter, whether it's temporary or permanent, knowing what is suitable and acceptable in the eyes of the Almighty Father. My brothers and sisters, I am reminded to speak once again while knowing how to vet and examine the one in the mirror, as well as those of whom we fellowship, to examine often, to vet often. So many of us have had scars, mistakes, things that if we look back on brings heartache and pain. So many of us can put on the shoes of saying, I'm tired of being burned. I'm tired of the mistakes. Yes, there are brothers and sisters among us who feel this way, though they may try to hide it, though they may try to cover it up, without leaning on the voice and the blood of the Spirit of Yahusha. The pain, the sorrow, the regrets will still stir. My brothers and sisters, know this. The Almighty Father Yahuah is not slack concerning the building up of his set-apart children. We will witness all that is needed to fulfill every task assigned by him, from the least to the greatest. This installment, maps and blueprints, as I stated before, I follow a pattern where the messages are related to one of the 7 feast days, and this is relative or related to the Feast of Passover. You see, the Feast of Passover were instructions, detailed instructions of what to do that yielded life. And I say to you, maps and blueprints are instructions on, will contribute towards instructions regarding what to do. They are aid, they are a tool for us to know that structure will come. Structure in a set-apart nation, movement will come. I say to you, my brothers and sisters, we all agree that end times are here. Many of us agree that that final exodus is soon to be. So let me challenge you to ask your moray, your pastor, your teacher, your deacon, whoever is of spiritual influence and consider themselves a leader, ask them the question, can they determine north, south, east, and west without technical assistance? If their answer is no, then ask them this: who and or how will they be able to lead when movement becomes necessary? Do they respond by identifying those whom they know are experts with discerning north, south, east, and west without technology? There are so many leaders who think and speak highly of themselves but fail to acknowledge their own weaknesses. Some cannot determine directions, nor do they have the intelligence or wherewithal to magnify those who have received favor from the Almighty Father to step into leadership when it comes to movement. Watch, there will be some surprises over the horizon, O Yashar'al. Romans 12:2-5 reads, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you prove what is good and well-pleasing and perfect desire of the Almighty One. For I say, through the favor which has been given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he should think, but to think soberly, as the Almighty One has given to each a measure of belief. For as we have many members in one body, but all members do not have the same function, so we the many are one body in Messiah, and members each one of one another. My brothers and sisters, end times are here. We will learn to yield to those who have found favor, given the expertise, the education, the knowledge, and experience when it comes to reading maps, understanding blueprints, looking at the plan, discerning the plan of the Almighty Father, and knowing how to navigate, knowing how to measure the structure, whether it be people coming together, structured together to protect one another, or whether it be building structures permanent or temporary. We will see how all this plays a role in end time prophecy fulfillment. The realities of end times are before us, O Yashar'al. Behold the hand of the Almighty Father Yahuah as he make known the emerging structure for his set-apart people. The structure as it relates to coming together in mass numbers. Yashar'al, my brother, my sister. When you look at a map, what do you see? When you look at a map, what are your expectations? When you witness someone that say, I don't need a map, and you ask them, at the very least, has a living map been given to them by the Almighty Father? Can they tell you where north, south, east, or west? Do you not believe this is important in the coming of days? Pray, O Yashar'al. Discuss these matters. Identify the different expertise, the many members with different functions among the body, from the least to the greatest. It is important that we understand what will be happening in the coming days. And that is discipline in the midst of extreme humbling time. That is structure. There is an emergence of the presence of the Almighty Father, and we will witness him magnify his hand before his children. Be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. From the very least to the perceived greatest, we will witness the promises of Abba Yahuah be proven and come before us. I invite you to stay tuned, for there is so much more to come as we press into these last days, these final hours. My prayer is that each of us grow in discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name, as referenced in John 14:26. My prayer is that we grow strong and establish a ready mind, body, and soul. Until next time, my brother, my sister, my family, be encouraged. Our redemption draws near. Shalum.